full arch implants have the ability to totally transform their lives, gives them the ability to speak again, right? Gives them the ability to eat again, to have confidence, no matter what's going on in the economy, that value is still going to resonate with them. You're not talking about the price. You're not talking about the process and all those intricate pieces. You're selling an outcome, and that's still always very, very valuable to people.
There's always going to be people buying full arch no matter what. That's always going to happen. It's going to be spread out. So the bottom people who are going to fail, unfortunately, the first step that they're going to make in their failure is they're going to stop marketing. Welcome to another episode of Full Arch Advantage podcast. My name is Gary Bird, and I'm the CEO of SMC National, where we provide predictable new patient flow for offices just like yours. And here today, we're going to be helping you create, convert, and close more full arch cases. And I have Jack. He is the director of marketing here at SMC National. He handles more marketing budget in the dental industry that's aggregated than probably anybody else in the world. So he has a lot of insight that will be very, very helpful to you and your practice on your goal to get more full arch cases into your practice. And today we're going to cover two things. Number one, obviously you've seen in the news all these banks failing and the economy slowing down. How is that going to impact you and your office, and what you need to start doing to make sure that you're set up for success? And then number two, scheduling issues. We are running into the scheduling issues of people who are trying to get more full arch cases, and it's happening over and over and over again. I want to give them to you because I think they're kind of hidden and people don't really think through them. And if you catch them, they will almost guarantee your success. And if you don't, they'll almost guarantee your failure. So stay tuned. All right, Jack. So I'm really excited to talk about these two things that are going on inside the full arch community. And the first one is a big one, and it's kind of a scary one, but I definitely think it's something that we need to cover, and then how to actually deal with it. So obviously you've been watching the news. We were just talking about it, that these banks are starting to fail. And this happened in 2008. Banks were failing because they had bad asset allocation. Basically, they had houses that were on these crazy balloon loans, and they just weren't worth any money, and the whole thing collapsed, right? So now we're starting to see that again, but it's more in businesses, people who invested in. Sorry to disrupt the show, but I got something crazy to share with you. We are attempting to connect with all of our listeners. We have thousands of people that listen to this podcast, and we want to meet you in person. We have 4 events coming up, and I want to give you a discount code that you can use for the next week to save $300 off your ticket. The discount code is Gary Bird, and the link is going to be just down below. You can also go to smcnational.com/events. I hope to connect with you in person and help each other grow our businesses. Can't wait to see you soon. Businesses took out business loans, and then they took that money from the SaaS companies, very risky, high risk companies, and then they took and reinvested it into bonds. And because of the interest rate hikes, it just created a bunch of basically they lost a bunch of money. And so now the Fed is having to step in. And what this does is it causes fear in the market, and people don't want to spend their money right now, right? So if someone has, $50,000 to spend on full arch, they're like, let's just wait and see what's going to happen. It might not be the best time to invest into something like this. Now, don't be discouraged, right? It's not like, hey, we have to shut down and we're not going to get business. But there are going to be people who shut down and don't get business. So let's talk through how, if you were a dentist and you ran a full arch facility and that's all you guys did, how would you tackle what we're seeing right now, and how would you approach it and make sure that you keep getting business the way that you have in the past?
Absolutely. Right. So I think first it's important to note that this isn't necessarily for the GP office that has a specialist that they've started to do this, right? Because what you can do in those situations, right, is just focus more on your lower cost treatment, emergencies, hygiene, just getting people in, because that's not going to be
impacted. Yeah, that's not going to be as impacted as the bigger treatments.
Yeah, exactly. If I fall today and I break a tooth, I'm not checking the market to see if I should go get that replaced. I'm going in and getting that fixed. And those practices can make a pivot. But like you said, the practices that are exclusively doing full arches, and that's a main driver of their business, that maybe they don't have that opportunity to pivot. What can they do, right? So I think the first thing to look out that you mentioned is that, well, some people are going to go under, right? And what that means for our practices that are able to adapt, well, that means there's less competition, right? So that's number one. You're going to be able to capitalize on that, the opportunity of there just being less competition. And then secondly, the biggest shift that I think, and actually this isn't even a shift people need to make in this season, they probably should do it, and just in their marketing in general, is making it value-driven marketing. And so what I mean by that, and that's rather than process-driven, because what I see so much of just kind of in the full arch marketing space and in the implant marketing space is everybody is talking about the process, what an implant is, what it costs, how long it takes, there's a crown, abutment, all that. They're over-educating the patient on the process before they've even sold the value of what that implant's going to do for them, of what that full arch of teeth, that brand new full arch of teeth is going to do for them. And so you get these patients that are all confused. It's like, cool, I know it uses titanium and you can place it with a robot or a surgical guide, but what is that going to do for me as a patient? And so it's making that shift over to value driven, because if you're telling patients that your full arch implants have the ability to totally transform their lives, gives them the ability to speak again, right? Gives them the ability to eat again, to have confidence, no matter what's going on in the economy, that value is still going to resonate with them. And it's going to allow you to still market yourself, because you're not talking about the price. You're not talking about the process and all those intricate pieces. You're selling an outcome, and that's still always very, very valuable to people.
Yeah, let's talk through that. Let's use different industries, right? So when you see an advertisement for like a high cost purse, right? So one of these designer purses, what they sell is they sell status, right? Yes. So they don't actually sell the purse like, hey, we made this from leather, and we took the cow from over this country and we made the purse, and then we stamped our logo on it, and now it's in our beautiful store and it smells beautiful. They don't do that. They go, here is a person that you want to be like, and if you buy our purse, you will be like this person and get the outcomes that they get. Then let's talk about cars. Cars is the same thing. What is the feeling that you're going to get when you buy this car? And again, it's status. You can go fast. You can, all these different feelings that you get from the car. They don't actually sell the process. And now there are, obviously, I will say this disclaimer, there are legalities around what you can and can't do inside of this. I have another episode with Brian from Dykema. He goes into this. Go look that episode up. He goes into great detail of what you can and can't do with implants. But Jack is 100% spot on. I will also add that, the economy is, there's always going to be people buying full arch no matter what. That's always going to happen. It's going to be spread out. So the bottom people who are going to fail, unfortunately, the first step that they're going to make in their failure is they're going to stop marketing. And when you stop marketing, Henry Ford said it best, stopping marketing to grow your practice or grow your business is like breaking your watch to stop time. It doesn't make any sense. Like it just doesn't, it's not a formula for winning. So that's actually going to free up marketing opportunities, but you have to be the best. Like you can't be middle of the road anymore. Because the middle of the road people may not buy. You have to be in that top 10%.
Yeah, exactly. And so you have to have tighter processes. You have to have better confirmation processes, more availability, better funnels as far as communicating with patients, because that's really going to stand out. Because now, that market shrunk. Now your competition shrunk, but like you said, it's a lot of the lower performers. So you're stuck marketing towards a smaller audience and smaller segment of the market against just the other cream of the crop in this industry. And so you have to be just that much better in everything you do.
Yeah, I totally agree. So let's talk. Anything you want to add on that before we move to the next topic?
No, I mean, there's a lot of things, obviously, what can you be better at? And I think one of the next talking points that we go into will be, a big deal there.
Yeah. So the other thing that we've been seeing a lot with people around full arch specifically, whether it's a full arch clinic that just wants to do all full arch, or it's a GP office that wants to add full arch, is that you have to get your schedule right. There's not a magic pill that you can take with marketing. Doesn't matter how amazing your marketing is, and fix your scheduling issues. If your schedule isn't right, marketing almost doesn't matter. Like it doesn't exist. So can you kind of give me the scenario that you're seeing out there with people and what roadblocks are actually running into around their schedule, and then the solution for it?
Yeah, 100%. So a lot of it comes from, GP practitioners or group practices that have a specialist now and they want to start doing more full arch, or maybe, periodontists, right? That were heavily referral based for a long time, but they want to start getting more full arch cases. Maybe they've added another periodontist, another specialist, and they have more availability for that. And so what happens is these GP practices or whatnot, they know that when it comes to a GP patient, that you got to get them in 24, 72 hours max, right? And for some reason, they think that with a patient that's coming in for a $20, $30, $40, $50,000 treatment, that those rules just don't apply anymore when you're marketing for them. And so what's happening is we're working with these practices and they're giving us 4 or 5 slots a week that they have availability for. So those are getting filled up really quickly. And then what happens is now you're scheduling patients out 2, 3, 4 weeks. And same thing that happens in GP, it's nothing different. It's marketing in general. When booking consultations, they're no-showing at an alarming rate. And so you have to realize that, hey, in order to do this, I have to open up slots. And so that I can see these patients as quickly as possible. And then if you truly don't have that availability, then it's working with your marketing partner to kind of control that flow so that you're not scheduling patients 3 weeks out. And a lot of the reason behind that is because with these marketing patients, right, there's a lot of momentum. And these patients that have maybe been thinking about it, but in any sector, when it comes to sales and just like large ticket items, these people they're scared of making decisions. They're scared of failing, right? And making a big decision like getting full arch implants is something that falls in that category. And so you have to help them make that decision. And so, you have your team maybe that's nurturing the patients, have got them convinced that, yes, they're going to take this first step and schedule their consultation. And that consultation, you've been following up with them for 2-3 weeks, constant communication, finally get them booked. And now you can't see them for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And what happens? You go dark. And so you have all this momentum build up, and then all that communication stops for about a month. And then you just expect them to show up and have that same energy that they had on the phone with you and in that communication in your nurturing funnel. Yeah. So you have to capitalize on it. And so we've seen practices that have been able to open up their availability and work with their marketing to make sure that they're filling those slots same week. That their no-show rates have dropped drastically from like a 60, 70% no-show rate from marketing, down to only a 10 to 30%, by opening up their calendars and looking at it that way.
Yeah, the best way I've heard this described is kind of like dating versus getting married, right? So buying full arch is getting married, right? So once they say yes, and here's the payment, and I'm getting the full arch, you're married. Before that, it's dating. And so imagine that you meet somebody and you're chatting, you're texting each other, you're texting every day, back and forth. Hey, let's go out on a date. Okay, let's do it. Let's go out on a real in-person date and see each other in real life. And so now you're going to go meet, and they're like, yeah, like in 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you've just lost all your momentum. Like it's not good. A lot of bad things can happen in that relationship, in that 3 weeks that you're waiting, that can derail the whole opportunity. And so you have to really think through how we're communicating, and then also when are you going to get these patients in? Because if you're not doing that, you're just going to lose the opportunity to somebody else who's more hungry, to be honest with you. And as the economy gets tighter and tighter and tighter, the few opportunities that do exist out there, as the opportunities dwindle, it's going to be the people who get the patients in fast. Like if you can get them in fast when they're ready, you are going to win more opportunities than the next guy. And I can't stress that enough. You will not be able to survive what's coming in this dental recession if you don't have a schedule ready to take patients the way that it needs to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And especially in the economy that we're potentially going into now, right? Your window when it comes to scheduling your consultation for a full arch and actually getting them to close that treatment, if it doesn't happen very quickly, if let's say that patient no shows because you schedule them out too far, that window and that opportunity with that patient is almost gone. It's as good as gone because they're probably not going to go back to your office. This patient probably is still a great candidate and will eventually do it, but more than likely with another office. Because they already felt that they let you down, right? They no-showed. So the next person that gets them is going to do it. And then also the economy and just everything is changing so rapidly. And so if you're allowing other factors to kind of influence them from the time that you schedule them to the time their appointment actually is, you're risking other external factors kind of taking the attention and taking that sale from you. So that's why it's just so important
to get them in as quickly as possible. Yep, totally agree. Well, this has been really good. Any other opportunities that people should be paying attention to?
I think next meeting we'll have the opportunity to talk about AI and just how practices can use AI to really help with their confirmation processes, their no-show rate, their scheduling and contact percentages, and just the different things we can do there to really automate things, but make it easier for the office and better for the patient.
That's awesome, man. Great job today. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yep.